I am here as ever with Laure Jackson. Hello, Anne.
Hello, good morning, afternoon, evening.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing really well, thank you.
Cool. I'm just checking, even though we're supposed to have done this beforehand, but my microphone, that's better. Yes, I was just checking something. New system, new background, new backdrop and everything.
I know, and I'm really looking forward to the time. Actually, your listeners and your viewers have to tell me what they think of the white backdrop, whether they would like more in the background or whether they like the simplicity of just the purity of a white background, or whether they'd like more character in the back. I'd love to hear actually anybody's responses to that.
Cool. Oh, yes, do let us know. Do you want stuff to appear behind Anne? That would be great. Like a climbing wall or something.
That's right. I'll get it back out of storage and put it up there so you know who I am. But it's like we do like again, it's like that visual, that visual stimulation. Would that be helpful for some to help them concentrate? Because they can have a look and try and work out what's going on in the background while they listen to what's going on.
You can have little puzzles going on in the background, couldn't you? Little hangman that grows every week.
And to spot the difference between people's visual discrimination and perceptual skills, I can have things flying up.
I did. I was doing an interview to somebody. I think I mentioned this. I love the plants behind you. It looks great. They had a little one plant and another plant, and it was really great. And he said, "Yeah. Somebody said that was really good. They're fake."
Right.
They look great. I thought they were real.
I have one of those. I'm going to fake. I do have a fake plant. That's to keep me happy in the office because I'll kill it otherwise.
Oh, fair enough. I used to have. Joe, she said, "You need that." I had a desk in the house. And she said, "You need a plant." So she bought me this beautiful plant. I looked after it and it died. And we couldn't help it. And someone said, "Where did you put it?" It was on my desk. "Did it ever get any sun?" Well, no, it's on my desk. It's an indoor plant. But they still need sun. So it died. Yeah. Lesson learned. But anyway, it's too late to salvage. Right. So we had some positive comments from people. We love Laure Jackson, which is great. And excitingly, we were looking at some of our analytics, which is not very exciting. But it is exciting because on a Thursday between 3 and 6, more people listen.
Yay!
Which is cool. They want to tune in, which is brilliant. So that's an encouragement. Right. I suggested to you earlier, and you said this was okay, that it might be good to take a person through, not just you get sensory health and we help you and you get better, but like from the point of somebody saying, "Okay, Anne, I think I've got some sensory issues," through an email or whatever from your website. If you could just take us through the story, more detailed of that first inquiry of help, I might have a problem, through to not the end, but through to a place of good sensory health where they can live that, as you put it, the best life they can live where they are, and really getting the best out of it. Can you take us through that whole journey, perhaps just demystify it for some people who might be a bit nervous about making that first contact with you?
Yeah, no, that'd be great. It's so the website AnneLaureJackson.com is a place where you can find different types of resources to begin with. So it could be that you just want to have a look and have a sense of what's out there and what you get for free, and just absorb those resources. So it's just a question of putting in an email. So we can send you the stuff and then checking emails, because sometimes they go into junk or spam boxes. That's the first thing, and people are thinking, "Oh, where are they?" So just going to the website, having a look. There are various videos and things that are on there for you to engage with. But normally, folks are coming in with a bit of exhaustion. They're frustrated. They don't know where to go. They feel as though they're just going around in circles. At home, they might be treading on eggshells. Just know that something's up, and maybe there's been one or two things, either from what they've heard here or what they've read or what a friend has said, that is saying that maybe there are some sensory issues. So if you kind of get the free downloads is a good place to start, because there's some really basic videos at 2 to 3 minutes long, just on basic information. Get a feel for logging into the website, because when we actually it's nice next. Let me take the next bit. It's lovely to have a call just for 50 minutes to meet with me, because I hope I'm not a scary person, but it's also a big thing to be on a Zoom with someone. And it's just really nice to be able to have those conversations and for folk to know that I'm hopefully not a scary person, that they will be cared for, that they will be loved for. If they're Christians, we pray together on that call. If they're not, we don't, because I just recognize folks are in different places. But I get to see if there's something that I believe I can help with, because I don't want people to come into the sensory super system if I can't help them. That's not good for them, and that's not good for me. Because a lot of what I do is built on word of mouth, and basically I only want to help people help themselves and change their lives. And if I don't think we're a good fit, then we don't. I don't offer a spot to come into the system to work with me. So that's nice to have a little 15 minute Zoom, and that can be booked straight from the website too. So there are free resources. There's a little 15-minute call just to say hello. And I really like those. They're just lovely. And it's an automatic online booking system. So when they do click to book a call, then it automatically opens up. You get one of those little online systems where you book a call and they get sent the Zoom link straight away. They get reminders and little prompts before the call. So hopefully, again, that takes away any fear of, I don't know where I'm supposed to be, when I'm supposed to be. All those emails and prompts should be straightforward in there. But once we've realised that we are a good fit for each other, and that we just want to get started, folks literally sign up through the website, credit card, PayPal, anyway, and it's just automatic. That's dead easy. When we then start, folks are sent, I normally have one here actually. Yeah, they're sent a guidebook through the post, so that folks can see what it's like beginning to end going through the system. So it is full, the pages are all there, of things that they will fill in to help us chat together and work it through, because it's an on-demand system where folks watch the videos, they complete the guidebook about their own child, about themselves, about someone that they're working with, and do that about 15 minutes a week. Doesn't take that much. So we're getting folks with that experience of feeling that frustration or exhaustion or not knowing where to go. And it's like, I'll take you by the hand through the system. The guidebook will take you through. I'm there coaching once a week. We can connect on that. Or there's private one-to-one services that folks can pay extra for if they want that. But there's sponsorships. The level at which folk can come in varies. At the moment, we have this amazing offer for just £49 a month for folks to be able to come in and get the full works of everything that I have to offer folk. And that's normally $249 a month, but there are sponsorships. There are different ways of being able to help folk if finance is an issue. But for now, for sure, it's just, let's just, if you can come on in, you get the guidebook, you work it through. So initially, the first month to 3 months is about assessing. So we have to look at every single sense. They're auditory, visual, tactile, smell, gustatory, vestibular, proprioceptive, interoception. There you go. Those are 7/8 senses. And I've got videos, and we see what each of them are, how we might respond to them. Over, underreactive, if we can't discriminate them, if we're not good physically coordinated wise with any of those senses. And the videos take folk through and say, okay, this is what, let's go, the vestibular system is, because most people don't know that one. This is what the vestibular system is, and this is what it can look like if you're not well integrated in that system. And literally, you watch the video and then you write it down in your guidebook and think, oh, yes, that's my child, that's me, right? And then you write it down in the guidebook. So you end up with a thumbprint that is so totally unique, so individual, and is not about judgment in any way, shape, or form. It's just about, this is who I am, this is who my child is, this is how they present from a sensory perspective. And all the while we check on that weekly coaching if they're joining the dots up correctly. So we have a lovely, lovely assessment with all the videos that I have online, and they fill it in the guidebook. And then we just gently work through the system. We're just at their own pace. There are steps. That's what really good. I love this bit. So folks can tick things off. I'm a tick list person, and I really kind of like it. So I don't know, for those who are able to see the video, there are little steps that you tick through in the guidebook. Step 1, watch lessons 1 and 2. And so on and so forth. So it's a really precious, take it at your own pace, take it at your own speed. We will work it through. because life happens. Holidays happen, sickness happens, everything happens in life, doesn't it? Everywhere. So it's just follow the system and just plug back into the system when you can. So we've got the on-demand training that's there that they can watch at any time of the day or night, weekly coaching, a guidebook to follow through, a lovely community. We've got 24/7 community where folks can just share videos, they can share photos, just comment like they would on Facebook or any other social media, but it's all nice and safe within the website itself. So we take them through the assessment process, then we talk and we find them the treatment techniques first. And then I've got lots of videos on the inside of the website that will explain how to do those treatment techniques. So it's always there for them to go back to and to refresh the things that would fit that person's sensory thumbprint. And then we move on to the management techniques that are the kind of things that we talk about actually together, because it's more general stuff. We don't know people specifically. It's great we have the questions, but we don't have their full thumbprint. So it's hard for me to speak specifically into it. But there are lots and lots of general strategies that we talk about that I've got videos about, that other people in the community will say, well, yeah, this did work for me. And we chat between us. And that's where it's a step up from YouTube or Facebook or anything else that people are using, because they're not just hearing good stuff, but they know how to apply it because we've got that connection. And that's the biggest thing, really. But were there other things in the process that you wanted to know? Do you want me to explain anything a little bit more?
Well, we can carry on. I just thought I'd pick up a couple of things. You were talking about the 15-minute Zoom call, just because I think some people might think, oh, what happens when they're booking a call? It's not going to suddenly start a Zoom call, is it? It's not like, oh no, what have I done? It's booking a time in the future. I just thought it was worth just because it's one of those things. Sometimes I've clicked a button. I was looking at sofas and I said inquire, and then a video started, and I was like, hang on a minute, I just wanted to email you a question. So it's not going to be some sort of sudden shock. You're now on camera.
No, not at all.
Fine. Okay. And the other thing was the weekly coaching. So is this kind of as a group of people that you talk to a group, or is this because you said there was one-to-one as well?
Yeah. So this is the group where we come together, because it's about content and the coaching and the community. So the fact that people don't feel alone. So many people feel as though they're the only ones struggling with these issues because they are different, that they're not out there. If your child's not wearing underwear, if folks are really bothered by certain foods, you just think, just get a grip, and you kind of tell them to wise up or to grow up or to whatever. And it's just like, you can't do that with sensory processing issues. But people don't know that. They just think, it's something in their parenting, or they just think it's something in the way that they were treated in the past, or they think it's because they're stupid or they're lazy. And it's like, no, you're not. And so you need to see yourself differently, and parents need to parent their children differently. But until you're in a community where others are saying, I really struggle, he only wants to eat foods with his fingers. You don't know where to say those kind of things, because some of them are, a lot of things are actually quite embarrassing or could be shameful, until you know that you're in a safe space to be able to share those things. And that's what we try and provide by having a community and by having a group that you can come to. Those are recorded and they're put on the inside of the website. But I always say to anybody, look, we can pause those if there are things that you want to say that you don't want to be recorded just for the community. We never publicize those outside. Same way that we do these calls go here, there, and everywhere, because it's just like, look, folks, this is real. If you're struggling with it, we want to help you. But they're private, but we can still pause those recordings because we don't need to record all details if folks don't feel comfortable sharing it within a small community. But the community is there to offer support so that folks know that they are not alone. But yeah, they're small groups. Not everybody comes on every week. Some people just like to work through the system. You can book a one-off call if people want, but it's more economical if folks do want a private one-to-one service as me with their personal OT that is just for them. Then there is what I call the gold offering. It is a higher offering of service that naturally needs to be paid for, because my time is really precious with all the different things that I do and the different fingers of different pies that I have my finger in.
There's only one of you.
Yes. But there are some lovely, lovely other sensory integration trained therapists that I'm working alongside, and that some have actually gone in to do postgraduate training so that they can come and work closer with me. And then the more I know what they know and the more experience they have, then the more I'll be able to trust them to take care of people that are coming to me because they trust me to be able to help them. But it would be lovely in time to grow.
Okay. And just the one other thing which I thought might be just good to flip back to, you talked about the online 24/7 community. You said it's a bit like a social media. So is it sort of, it's self-contained within your website? Is that how that works? That's how it's made safe and secure?
Yeah, totally. It doesn't go near any social media at all. I do have, for Christians, we've got the Christian Sensory Support Facebook group. That is, it's a private group, but that anybody can join that and anybody can comment. And as long as folks know that that's the ethos, and that we only want posts. We did have a psychic in there at one point, and it was just like, actually, I don't think this is an appropriate place. That there needs to be a safety within the community. So it's like, no, this is a safe spiritual space for those of us who have a Christian faith, who just want to live God's way. It's like, we just need to be safe. We just want to feel safe in the groups that we're in. So that's the Christian Sensory Support. There are loads of other Facebook groups for loads of other sensory things. So I thought, I don't need to do that. But what I do need for my own members is a safe space, regardless of whether they acknowledge any faith in their life at all. It is just a safe space for the community on the inside. But you share that it's a lovely system. You can post, you can put videos, you can upload photos. So we've had, like last week, we had a little the handwriting grip, because handwriting is a massive issue for lots of children. Lots of it can have a sensory underpinning. I have a 12-week handwriting with ease course that is a bonus part of the sensory super system, because it's about, when we understand the senses, we have to make it real. And it's how does your sensory processing affect life? So we can specifically address certain things like meal times, like handwriting, and assess. And it's really lovely to have that two-way. Even though we have group coaching, that's 24/7. I can comment into those pictures. Again, knowing where the child is coming from a lot more than in a general Facebook group.
Money can always be a bit of a contentious issue, or an uncertain issue, but they're not just paying you just for a book. I mean, this goes so much more than that, because they're talking about specialist help. We're talking about ongoing weekly help and support and encouragement, and it's it's like access to a whole range of things, from what I'm hearing, just from what you're saying. I mean, I know a bit anyway, but just from literally what you're saying today, it's opening up so much to people of your specialism, of encouragement. And the bit that really I think was important is you were talking about how the community can kind of help each other, and you can say things, and someone could say, "Yeah, I know what that's like." Because when I can only go off my own CBT therapy, or the PTSD therapy, was I chatted to a guy who was in the military, in the RAF. I said, "Can you pray for me, because I'm going through this therapy and I really don't know what to expect." And he was great, because he understood the idea of CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, and PTSD, because he's in the military, so he gets trauma. So it was really good to have someone I felt safe to say, this is what I'm doing, for him to understand that. But not everybody would. You say CBT and people don't necessarily know what that acronym means, or PTSD. Oh, does that mean you've been in a war? And well, no, it's just a form of trauma. But actually, someone who understands that takes that kind of it's like almost becomes what takes away that taboo-ness. I suppose it's a better word, but it to remove some of that mystique of, actually, this is quite normal what I'm going through.
Yeah. And going back, the whole finance thing, it's just like when I make like a proper private therapist, I mean, like we have to, as a private practitioner, you're charging between £800 and £200 an hour. That is a typical rate for a private practitioner. And to think that folks are getting like at least four times a week, plus all the coaching, plus the community and all the rest of it, and especially now at only $49 a month, it's like, oh, yeah, but and folks are saying, look, you should stay. You are a private practitioner, just stay at those prices, because it typically, a lot higher. And it's like, well, I could, but actually there are a lot of people who can't afford it. That's why we have the NHS. So if people want free, they go to the NHS. I'm trying to find that final, that balance between, if they do and they are able to pay, brilliant, they will get an excellent service. They will still get an excellent service. It's just delivered in a different way when they come in at the bronze level, which is our group level, and has a variety of price points for people to be able to accommodate that. But as I say, free, folks go to the NHS. If we've got various price points for this one, but if they want proper private practice, then that is what is going to cost, because it does. One of the ladies that I was dealing with, who is in the system, someone else was asking her about a private assessment, and she said she was quoted for 2 hours, £850 to get a report and do assessment, and that is what is out there if you are looking for private practice. So yeah, money's an interesting one, isn't it? It is.
I saw something the other day, and I thought this really sums it up. And it was somebody who had, it was in America, but they were clearing leaves from somebody's garden, and they charged them $150. I think it was about 30 minutes work. And this person, oh, that's outrageous, $150. And he said, yes, but that machine cost me $60,000.
Right.
So $150 into 60,000, that's quite a lot of time. And that doesn't cover the cost of the people and the maintenance and the repairs. And I think we can sometimes forget, oh, that sounds a lot, but it's everything behind it. $150 for half an hour for a $60,000 machine and staff, all of a sudden doesn't sound quite so bad. It's just leaves. Yes, but you want them gone, and it's a service you have to pay. And I think it's only right and fair that we do that. And it's actually a biblical concept anyway. We should be paying for the things, and it's good.
Yeah. Yeah, because I added up how much, because I've been self-employed since my first child was born. Well, I wanted to be, but my husband wasn't keen for me to do that just then. So I had to wait. So it was another 2 years before he was happy for me to set up my own business back in 2004. And to think that's 20 years of everything. I've just reinvested everything back into the business so that I could be a better therapist, so that I could be a better, all the rest of it. And nearly £200,000 later that I have spent. And it's just like my first year, I remember my profits for the first year, £100 for the whole year, because I just kept reinvesting just so that I could serve people well. But I always remember that, and I thought, yeah, I will. £100 was my first year's profits. And it's just like, yeah, I'm not in this for the profit. I want to run a really, really good business. I would like to make a lot of profit. I would like to be able to serve and help and to fund other things. And that's where I'm growing and starting to be able to invest and feed into other people, because of the money that's coming in. But that's also how money should work. It's not about us holding on to finances. It's about what can the finances then enable us to do? Who can we help? Who can we support? What else can we do? How can I make this business better? Because actually now I can afford to pay for people to create a guidebook. It's only this year we've been able to afford to actually send this out, and it just helps people through the system that bit better. But I can afford to get it printed now. So yeah, I like using money well, and that's a skill.
And investing wisely, which is sensible. So I think we've sort of covered, if I got this right, we are now about 3 months of the assessment. So you've now got your unique thumbprint. You've got an idea of, okay, these are my areas of struggle with my particular senses. I've got a problem with touch, or sound is something that I struggle with, and this is the problem. Where do you go once you've got that? What's the next step of the journey?
Okay, the next step of the journey is working through the Managing Sensory Issues course. So we look at every single sense and the different things that you might want to do, according to what we found, in each of those senses. There are hundreds of videos on the inside of me showing you, right, you might want to get a ladder in the garden because you're going to do these kind of ideas with them, or we're going to get a quilt at home in the bedroom, and you're going to roll your child up before they go to bed, and you're going to pat them down and squish them, because that's really going to help them settle to sleep. So we have a look at all of those videos. We look at general principle management techniques and see which of those connect with the family, because it's all about also finding the right flow. I've got what is going to work for that family, because every family is going to be different. The treatment technique, the treatment strategy might be the same, but they'll have to do it in a different way because of the hours that the parents work, because of the hours of whatever, or where they live in the world, what the temperature's like, what's going on in that particular season. So it's all totally individualized. So we work through the management course. Then we look at sensory diets, which is not about the food that people eat. It is about, what was that?
I was going to ask.
It's about the sensory input that people put into their bodies, into their daily life. So every single minute of every single day, we look at what is going on in the environment, what is going on in your senses to help feed you. That's where the diet bit comes in, to feed you and to keep you well and fit and focused and energized. What are the things that we need to incorporate? So we take folk through that system, look at dissecting everyday life and what it looks like from a sensory perspective. We look at self-regulation then, because that, for lots of people, that is an issue. It's not an issue for everybody. Self-regulation is just how able they are to keep control of their emotions, not get angry, aggressive, fight, kick, hit out, which, to be honest, about 70% of the folks coming into the sensory super system, that's their biggie. That's the biggest issue that they're having. It's like these emotional outbursts. It's the anger, it's the nervousness, it's the controlling behaviors. That probably is about 70% of the folk coming in. So we look at how we use sensory work and understanding strategies and treatments to focus in on that area. And then once we think folks have a really good handle of sensory issues, so they've understood it, they've assessed it, they've managed it, they've tweaked it, they're putting different strategies into their everyday life to find that flow, then comes the point where I say, okay, not everything actually is sensory. It might look sensory, but actually it's not. And that's when we move on to dissecting. Is it sensory? Is it behavior? Or is it heart issue? Do they just want their attention because they just want to be with you? There are so many different types of things that things could be that are not actually sensory and that would be better treated in a different way. And so that's when folks are ready to either leave the program or acknowledge that they want to spend more time learning about the sensory stuff and being supported in their maintenance of understanding all of this stuff. Or they recognize that, I think actually, all together, we've realized that, again, most of these issues are due to something else and that aren't actually sensory. But there is incredible power in knowing what something isn't sometimes and having the affirmation that, yeah, I've had that really fully assessed, and that we do know what is left over. It's kind of like, come in for the time that you want to spend with us, whether that be 3 months, whether that be 6 months, whether that can be for the year, and just know that you have got sensory needs nailed. You've got it sorted. You do know, you understand, and you know where they're at. And it's other things, other aspects of brain processing that are left over that need addressed in a different way to help you and help them.
I can definitely understand the knowing what something isn't part, because when they said, we think you might have atrial fibrillation because you're having atrial fibrillation, is it a random one-time deal, or is this a condition that you could have so it could come back again? And after lots and lots of tests, EKG, ECG, I had the ultrasound thing on my heart, they did all these tests, and they said, look, we know, even though the heart monitor has 72 hours, we know you don't have atrial fibrillation. And actually that was really helpful to know what I didn't have. Didn't help me understand why I was getting palpitations, but once you take everything else out, they said, well, the only thing left is you must be anxious and stressed because your heart is brilliant. So whatever the physical symptoms are, we know that it's not tied to your heart. Therefore, this one thing is all we have left, and I've been working on that ever since. So the idea that we know what something isn't, actually, that's really valuable. It sounds really negative, but if we know what it isn't, we know what it can be or what it must be.
Yeah, and I think that's what I love by the fact that I can work with folks to do the assessment really well, because we do know what we are dealing with. Like, so the end of 3 months, that's what I was saying, look, you can cancel after 3 months. If you want to whiz through it, you can do it even shorter. If you want to just do it in a weekend, get the assessment done. You just need to really apply yourself. But if you do want to do it, you can do it. Just come in, get the assessment, and then you can cancel if we haven't found sensory issues. But because of the assessment that we go through, it's like, oh, because if we do have a sensory issue, it changes when we put sensory strategies with it. That is why I love it, because it is so, if you have got this, we can do this and it will change. If it's not changing, we either need to tweak what it is we're doing, but that doesn't take much to sort. But it's an affirmation, a confirmation. Look, it genuinely is not a sensory processing issue, and let's go elsewhere, or you go elsewhere, and I would recommend you do this instead, or you go to see this type of person because this is the type of work that you need, and it isn't actually sensory processing and integration that you need.
Wow. Okay. One of the things that I came back on, I joked about the sensory diet. Is it food? Okay, it's not. But I was thinking about food because some people can have a particular reaction. For me personally, I love onion. My body doesn't. So I've learned that the best thing to do is not eat onion. If I eat onion, I enjoy it on the way down, but then my stomach is really, really not happy. So I've learned to manage this situation by not eating onion. So what we put in through our minds or through our mouths, obviously we understand through our mouths it's going to change. So I don't eat onion as much as I might want to. But when it comes to the senses, I'm guessing it's the same sort of things, like what you feed yourself, or perhaps what you allow in. Some of those things, they may not be good for you. So therefore, we need to be careful. In the same way that I think Phil Collins went deaf because he had too much noise for too many years and didn't care for his hearing. So therefore, if he'd have worn ear defenders or been more careful, his hearing would have been better in later life. And it's that, is it that sort of thing? Am I oversimplifying it?
No, absolutely. Absolutely brilliant. And that there are some times that we will know another word for sensory integration is fun. So it's good that it feels fun. That kind of like has to be the basic. And if it's not, if something that we are doing in the therapy, in the treatment, in the management of it all, if that makes you feel worse, then we know that that's not correct. It's the same way that you might ingest something and you think, oh no. But it's finding there are elements of sensory craving and elements of sensory seeking that are not good and not helpful for the system. And that is where it is good to talk it through, because most of the time people are aware of what they need, and we can honor that and totally say, but there are occasions when actually, no, it is not good for you to be doing that. I went to see a mum, did a home visit with a mum. When was that? Saturday. And she just needed the confirmation. She said, am I doing it? Am I doing it right? Is this going to be okay? Because she wants to do this a lot. So we had a look at the girl's behavior. And I'm saying, is she getting dysregulated? Is she getting disorganized? Is it affecting her communication? Is it affecting her sleep? Or is it affecting her negatively after doing all of these things? And she said, well, no. She says when she does these things, she's actually more affectionate, and we just enjoy life a little bit more. So I said, that's how you discern, a lot of it the right way, and trust, just trust, go ahead. So mum just needed that confidence just built up, and that's what I love to do. It's just being able to affirm and say, yes, you can, that's great. Keep doing what you're doing. It may look a lot, but if you're not seeing the negative, and you are seeing some positive, we're going in the right direction, and that's okay. But we'll keep conversing, keep having that conversation, because at any point things can change, in which case we need to change with it. And that's where I love that. Continuing coaching so that I can speak into lives as they continue themselves.
Oh, okay. That's really, I love that. It's that affirmation. I've talked about this, I think, many times in different spheres, but we've lost a lot of the connection with family and parents and some of the basic knowledge. I mean, breastfeeding is one of the things that I was quite passionate on. I used to deliver breastfeeding talks to new mums to be, because that's what Joe did. And the one thing I loved was all these new mums saying, no one's told us these things. We didn't know. And I used to work with a midwife, and she said, this is the problem. This is why I was valuable to them, because I was saying, well, here's my baby. We use breastfed milk. Joe expresses it. We store it like this. This is how you do it. This is how you can feed your child. We didn't know that. We thought that was really weird. And it's like, it's really normal. But if you don't know, you don't know. And actually that affirmation is lacking in society in many ways, because fragmented society and families and all that. But actually, what you've just done for that mum, now she's got some confidence because someone's come alongside her and said, yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
And how liberating is that going to be for that person?
Oh, I hope so. Yeah. It was lovely getting the email in the evening. She says, oh, and it's just like, yes, go, mum.
Oh, it's so encouraging. Thank you for sharing that. I just thought it might help people to understand a bit more of what it is that you're doing, because you talk about occupational therapy, and my brain would have a few years back gone to, it's something to help you work. And I know that's something you do, but it's a lot more involved than that. It's a lot deeper than that. And it's not just about doing a job, it's about living life, because work is not something we do until we die. Work is a part of our life. Therefore, what you're doing isn't just helping someone to have a job, it's actually helping to engage better in the community that they're in.
Yeah, do the job of living.
Yeah, which is important.
It's kind of important.
It matters, doesn't it? Wow, thank you. Right, well, another wonderful session. Thank you, Anne. If people want to know more, where do they go to?
AnneLaureJackson.com. Follow on social media at Sensory Health Coach. There's YouTube and Instagram, and then it's also what's so lovely, like your family, my son is coming on board to help me to spread the word and say, hello, does this connect with anybody, or who does this connect with? And I'm here to help if you would like help. So he's going to come on board. So hopefully into 2024, those social channels will be just brimming with goodness and helpfulness, and there for you. But we're going to we're taking December to look to look over everything, and just try and plan it as well as possible, to reach out to people, let them know we're here.
Thank you so much. I know people really enjoy these. I can see the proof now, because I can see a spike of listeners on a Thursday afternoon at 4 o'clock. So we know that these are popular. So it's great, which is encouraging to me, thinking, I know people like this, but it's nice to actually have that visual stimulation of the senses. Yes, there's a spike at 4 o'clock.
There's a spike.
A good spike. So thank you so much. If you've got any questions for Laure Jackson, she's here every week on a Thursday afternoon. Anything to do with sensory related, whether it's your touch or your sight or your hearing, whatever you're thinking, is this the problem? Is this not? Email us hello@pure247radio.org. hello@pure247radio.org. And we can pass those on to Anne to answer for you on air, and you can be as anonymous as you wish. Thank you, Anne. That was fabulous. I really enjoyed that one today. It was good, different, exciting.
That's brilliant. Thank you. Thanks, Anne. Bye.